Okay, I'll put it on, Bob, but we don't necessarily have to
Right.
do anything with it.
Okay.
Okay, everybody's on.
Well,
Are we
if
waiting
you
for
want to do it, we could do it in case we have any questions we
Yeah,
have to come back
yeah.
to.
Okay,
So that may be a good idea, just so in
okay,
case we have to
just
come
that,
back.
okay.
Are we missing anyone yet? Oh, we
Bill
ready?
Keeley. Bill
There's no-
Keeley.
Nobody's showing waiting yet. Everybody who
All right, I'll
was
call
waiting
Bill.
is in.
I'm gonna call Bill.
All right, do that.
Did you send that to me, Susan?
I'm doing it right now. I'm just logging in.
I just want to have that in front of me.
Mhm.
Not that I need it, but.
I guess even though we should welcome the committee chairpersons who are present at this point.
Good
It's great
idea.
to have us all together at this
Yeah.
point.
Bill, are you coming on?
We're just so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you here.
She can't even be in the same room
Come on,
with me.
man, get in.
Well, thanks for
Frank is-
organizing this.
Frank, our distance.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Good.
Okay, come on in. Yeah,
Coming
we're
on?
all here waiting for you.
Okay, Frank, I sent it to you.
Okay, no
Okay, thank
problem.
you. I
All
got
right,
it.
come on in.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So who's gonna pick up? Where's Frank?
I'm here.
Where? Oh, there you are.
I'm
All right, so-
I'm in the upper
Bill
square.
Bill is signing in. He'll be in a minute.
All right, why don't we just get started if somebody else signs on and
Yeah, okay, so the
how much
reason,
do we be missing?
okay,
Frank, I
so-
want to turn the ball over to you because I think you wanted to kind of
yeah, okay,
control this
You got
particular
it.
meeting, which is fine with me.
yeah, okay, so the reason we decided to speak to the chairs is because we feel it's important to hear from you guys, what your ideas are, how you see the community going. We had a rough winter and we had a rough year just with COVID alone. And I think, we don't have a lot of volunteers in the committees, which is an ongoing problem. And so with that said, why don't we just quickly, each one of you go around the horn, say your name, we all know who you are, just so everybody knows who's on what committee, what chair you represent. And then that way, we all know that, and let's get that in front. So Raisa, why don't you start?
Raisa, I am the chairman of the finance committee, and anything else?
That's all.
No,
Anything
okay.
else? Anything
Finance
else? Your
committee.
chief cook, bottle washer, okay.
Actually, we're missing one more member, and then the full finance committee would be here.
Right.
Joe?
Joe Torre, yeah, I'm co-chair for the finance committee.
Okay. David?
Dave Weiner. I am the head of the Gate and Security Committee and also part of the Procurement Committee.
Good,
Oh, okay.
good, okay.
Welcome, Dave.
Welcome.
Yeah, nice to meet
Welcome.
you, Dave.
Right, and then we have Judy, we all know, but go ahead, Judy.
Judy Brady, we are the social committee along with Angela, who is over there. And we co-chair that committee. And of course, it's really a little difficult to figure out what we're going to do, but once we can do something, we will.
And John?
John Gargano, Chairman of the Alternate Dispute Committee.
Ah,
All right, he's the guy that carries the bat.
The fun one,
Ah,
the fun committee.
Okay, Bill is coming in.
Okay, let's let him come in, we'll say hello, and then we'll
Make
get down
sure
to
he's,
business.
Yep, William, popping in.
Yep, there he is.
He's connecting.
okay, Bill, can you hear us?
Not exactly.
No, I think he's still connecting.
Yeah, he's still connecting. That's what it says.
Just wait
It
a
said
second.
it didn't connect.
Okay, good. I got what I wanted. Okay, come on, Bill. Is he?
Hey,
Almost
Bill,
there.
jump up and down.
Bill, can you hear us?
Frank, is he trying to connect or is?
Yeah,
It
he's trying to
shows
connect.
he's trying to
connecting
connect,
okay,
yeah.
okay, he's getting there.
Let's give him
Connecting to
a
audio.
second.
Give him a couple minutes.
He said it's connecting to audio and it's
X him
okay.
out.
I don't see anything.
Bill?
Okay, Bill, when you get in, speak and we'll see if we
Yeah.
can hear you.
I see him.
They're connecting. and then
Audio
he
right now.
X'd out.
I think he's trying again.
There he
Unmute,
goes.
Bill.
Bill, you in?
Okay, he's
Yeah.
muted. Unmute, unmute. Unmute, Bill, unmute.
Can you read lips?
There we
I
go.
could-
There he goes.
Back there, Bill.
Yay!
Hi, Bill.
Bill.
How you doing, guys? I couldn't hear you
Hey.
at first.
Okay, good,
All right.
welcome.
Okay, Bill, why don't you introduce yourself? We all know who you are, but just for formality, who your name and what committee you're part of, your chair.
Okay, hi, I'm Bill Keeley. I'm at 10 Maria Court, and I'm on the procurement committee, and I'm also on the architectural committee.
Hey, Bill, you got a light you can turn on? You're pretty much in
Oh.
the.
Or hold the flashlight under your chin.
Ah, there we go.
There you go.
Hey.
Spotlight now.
Okay, yeah. All
Okay,
right.
good.
Better, that's
So
better.
let's move on. So we want to find out we want to understand the old, other than David, everyone's been on a committee before, knows what they're supposed to be doing, know the parameters of the committee. If you don't know, please ask. We can, reiterate that to you.
Very good.
And we can move right off that because we all know. But because we had a tough year with COVID, and hopefully we'll be coming out of it sooner than later, we'd like to hear from each of you. What do you think you'd want to do or accomplish this year in your committee? We can start off with Raisa.
Well, we're finance committee. This year, we actually have only 4 people on, which is fine by me. What I really would like to accomplish is possibly if you guys have a board or anything like an extraordinary expense or anything that you perceive that all of a sudden we need to spend money, I would like you to contact us direct and we'll have an emergency meeting and we'll come up with a solution of the best way to finance or handle certain financial matters. I know Mark Goikman and all of you guys understand finances, but I would like you to bring us in because we're an extension of you. You have a lot of other things that you're working on. So that's our responsibility to come up with a fast solution with what you need to do. And, we would like to alleviate the stress of making certain decisions from your end and just help you out with that.
Okay, so also including in that, so if we have any special projects that aren't in the budget because special projects do come up,
Right.
but there's no money in the budget to expense towards that particular project. We have 2. One, we all heard from Jay about benches, and we think it's a good idea.
Right.
I have some ideas how we can maybe circumvent using money that's in the budget today to put benches throughout the community.
Right.
And or how we can maybe solicit charity from, not charity, but donations from residents by maybe having a name plaque on a bench and so forth. But I'll talk to you more about that, Raisa,
Okay.
and how we go about that. And maybe the finance committee can come up with ideas or see where they may find a couple extra bucks. The other project might be that we probably want to do, and we've heard about this for a long time, is do something with our front entrance.
Okay.
I've done some plans on that. We got shut down early on because of COVID, because we couldn't get a full expense report on what a project that would cost. Because we have to, unfortunately, the front entrance, we have to go to Marlboro for some stuff, and we have to also go to Old Bridge. So it takes a little bit longer to
Yeah.
get documentation. With COVID, we can't knock on their door. We can't go into the municipalities. So we got to wait in line. So those are 2 immediate that you should be aware of that we'd like to try to start this year
Okay.
if we
All
can.
right. So not a problem. Send me the information. Our next meeting is sometimes in May. But if we need to have an emergency meeting, we'll be, just let me know. We'll get it set up. Also, my understanding is that almost everybody on my finance committee, I think, Joe, you were the last one to get the second shot, right?
Yeah, I'm done now. Yeah.
Okay, so all of us are vaccinated and we have been for quite some time. So if we can meet at the clubhouse with the board's permission, because all of us are vaccinated and the social distancing, I would prefer to do that versus doing Zoom. I mean, I can do the Zoom, of course, but it would be a lot easier. It's only 4 of us to use the clubhouse. And that would actually make it so much easier for us. It's not a lot of people and we're all okay. So,
Okay, so with that said, we had a brief meeting just before this meeting to talk about clubhouse issues, reopening. We know at our next HOA meeting, we're going to move it back from the end of March to the
It
first
means-
week of
Yes, I saw
April.
that.
Because of the governor is supposed to be coming out with new mandates on what we can and what we can't do. So once we have that, we will look at how we can start opening up the gym, the card room, the main room, the clubhouse for meetings like you want. The biggest problem, and I'll let you guys know, the biggest problem is there is no insurance coverage for, God forbid, someone gets COVID and dies, and the family wants to sue the HOA. There is no insurance in place for that litigation.
Frank, let
Then
me
as
just-
board- wait,
Frank, not only is it not in place, it's not available. You
Okay.
can't buy it if you wanted to.
Well,
Yeah.
can you have waivers?
No, I'm going to give you a quick rundown on that. The board, because we're fiduciaries, we are personally liable at that point. So
Okay.
that means we would be putting our lives and our well-being in harm's way. So that's a consideration also. Waivers. People can sign a waiver, but in New
It's so
Jersey, they
stupid.
have not stood up in court
Okay,
because people can say, I read it under duress. I didn't have my attorney. I didn't understand what I was signing off on. So we will look at that as well. And the other thing is we cannot discriminate against those who've been vaccinated and those who
Okay.
have not been vaccinated. We can't say, okay, show me your vaccination card. Then you can come into the clubhouse. We cannot do that legally. That's something that's not available to us as well.
well, we're
we-
saying only the finance committee meetings. I'm not
We
saying about
understand that,
anybody
but
else.
what happens then is, unfortunately, oh, they could go in there. We're only 4 people. We want to come play cards. We have our vaccination.
I see. Okay, yeah, kind of makes
No,
sense.
We will, we'll take that under advisement. So
Okay,
that's good. Who's
Hey,
up next?
Frank,
Yeah, David.
yeah, just one thing going back to, you talked about raising money for by
Benches,
our
things, right?
association. One of the things we did, I belong to a club in North Brunswick, and to raise money around the flagpole, we actually put pavers with people who passed away, and they honored either the dead or past member, or whatever, with a paver. And we made quite a bit of money by putting pavers around the flagpole.
Wow.
Yeah, good
And we're
idea.
forever in Madison Crossing. That's really good.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I know down where I have a home in Long Beach Island, when they had to do the theater over, there's pavers on the sidewalk. If you go there today, every one of those pavers has someone's name on it, either a family member, in honor of, we took $50 donations, $100 donations, and we got money that way as well.
Yeah, it was $100 we charged each member, and we made about close to $60 on each
How much?
paver. About $60 on each paver.
It's
And
good.
how much money did you make?
We charged a person $100.
No, but how much did you actually put in the kitty when all was said and done?
How many pavers did you get?
Well, it's still ongoing. So I think right now we have over 70 in there. I mean, it's not a huge club. A lot of the older members have unfortunately moved on. We have a couple of 90-year-old guys still with us.
God
But,
bless.
Yeah. But
That's about
but
$3,000.
people are doing, they did it it was a good fundraiser for us to do that.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's move. So David, you're part of procurement, and who else is on procurement with David?
I am.
Well, Bill is the chairman.
You're the chair.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
I'll talk about the
let's
gates.
talk about the procurement. You talk about
You wanna
gates
talk about
after-
procurement?
Let's talk about gates later.
Okay.
Can work at that because I know there's been work done on that.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about on procurement? Is there anything, Bill, that you would like the board to help you with? We all know that we've talked about, I'll tell you what we've talked about so you understand what we're trying to do. We've always talked about having a general contract that was written, so our specifications, so our needs, so our accountability standards, so how we
Yep.
pay, how we don't pay. And then we would try to get that drafted up. And that way, when procurement committee goes to get vendors to vet them, we can say, here's our documentation. This is what we expect from you. We don't
Yep.
want to have to read your contract, because what that does is we have to then send that to the lawyers. We get billed for lawyers to read it. Then we got to go back and forth a few times and we
Right.
incur expense. So if we can get one boilerplate kind of contract that we could use for the big three, which is pool, landscaping, snow removal, irrigation. Those are the
Right.
four main ones that when you guys vet, you can hand that out. So maybe that's a task that you guys may want to try. I understand, David, you've done contracts in your past?
My previous company, I was a director of procurement, way back when, but over the last 7, 8 years before I retired, I purchased all of our camera equipment for, 800 stores, all of the repairs that we made to our stores, anything that related to asset protection, loss prevention, locks, alarms. And what we did, but it was a much bigger scope, we used to do what was called reverse auctions, where we created an RFI. We sent that out to vendors. They actually went online and they bid against one another. And you could actually see the bidding going on. Once you vetted the vendors, you did Dun and Bradstreets on the vendors, making sure they were real vendors. It's a program that costs money to do. And based on looking, when we had our procurement meeting the other week, looking at what we have, we don't spend enough money on these 4 jobs to really merit purchasing a program like that in this environment. But we should, and Bill is, we've been certainly looking at snow removal, getting some good ideas and input from Alex on where he lives. And I know we've been doing a lot of emails because that's one area, just quickly looking at it, where I think we have an opportunity for some money savings.
Okay, so one thing I will say, we're all looking to save money, and we're all looking to have better everything.
Right.
In our contracts and what they deliver to us. You just on snow removal, this is like my first year really that I got really involved deep in the weeds on snow removal because it was a terrible winter for all of us. Just beware, and I can talk to you about what we found. Bob, he's been on snow removal for the beginning of time. This is a very unique community where we have different types of dwellings. We have the townhouses that have stairs. We have mid-rises that have garages underneath the buildings. And then we have the villas, and then we have roads. And of course, we have terrible parking in some of the courts where equipment can't get in and out. So just keep that in mind when you go to Alex or another person who has great glowing things about what they can and cannot do. Just remember to make sure it's apples to apples and not apples to oranges.
We really weren't looking at what they could do. We wanted to know what kind of contracts they created based on, like right now we have a yearly contract, a seasonal contract basically.
Right.
And we pay the vendor regardless if it snows or doesn't snow. So one of the things that we found out today is they pay by incident by inch. So there's a different rate per 2 to 4 inches, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, whatever it may be. And I'm still waiting to hear back. The one last question that I sent and Bill saw the email is, if there is no event, does that mean we don't pay?
Normally-
So
normally,
that would
Probably
be very,
you're gonna have to pay something because nobody, if I was a
Right.
snow removal
Yeah.
guy, you're booking my time and there's no snow, I could have booked it somewhere else. The other
which we need to hear. So I want to hear that answer. We
Yeah.
want to hear that
Now,
answer.
just so you know,
Also,
in the
let-
past, we've done that before. We've done it by the inch. And we wound up paying about $90,000 that year for snow removal.
Right.
So by us doing the contract the way we have, this year, we got away with murder.
Oh, yeah,
If we
absolutely.
had to pay by the inch this year, forget it. We'd have maybe 140 houses up for sale here.
And
That's what we
pay.
need to hear. We need to hear what, that's why we weren't making any judgments, but
Yeah,
Right.
no, there's
Different
pros and
options.
cons, David, to both
Yeah.
ways.
so
And they
you
have
know
to
what,
be
David,
measured
might be
and
helpful.
laid
May I
out.
make a suggestion?
Go ahead.
When we do the budget, rather than put nothing in the snow, why don't we put like 3 large events and build it into the budget? And then whatever is over that, and then there may be a small assessment. and let the residents know, because if we do that and hopefully reduce the fees, this is gonna go over very, very well. But we definitely need to build something in. Instead of 70,000, maybe we can build 25,000 or $30,000, and that'll cover 2 or 3 events. And then the rest of the money, if there is no snow like it was for the last 2 or 3 years, we're definitely gonna be in a win situation. And, you know, we'll have some money paid into the contractor, and we'll reduce the maintenance fees, and residents will know that, hey, something is in there. Is not everything, you know, we'll cover it somewhat, and we'll need to pay some additional if there is snow. And this way you don't have everybody screaming, well, there's no snow, what are we paying so much money for,
Yeah.
for this?
So, listen, this is not to solve the issue tonight, but
Right,
it's
no, I understand, but this is a
David,
suggestion.
here's another idea I'd like to throw at you for this. Maybe there's some kind of, a rollover, as the season goes. If there's any money left over, can we get a credit towards the next year coming if we give you a 2-year contract? So if it's a flat rate and we don't use it, he makes a lot of money, but you know what? The next year, maybe we get a credit towards the second year of the contract, a multi-year. And the other thing you have to remember, we can probably do better if we get a multi-year contract, but anybody coming in new into this community, the first year, the first snowstorm will be brutal because there's a lot to learn.
Yeah, the other
So-
thing that we
Okay.
talked about, Frank, was, because we're gonna look at the, landscaping company as well and try it, if we could marry the two together, could we get a better price? Because he'll have two parts of the puzzle, and maybe they'll give us a better price because they'll have 2 pieces of the puzzle, if that works. We don't know yet because
Yeah.
we haven't spoken.
There's a lot of options. And I would recommend that you speak to Frank Brady. He has a lot of statistics on what we spent, when we spent it, how many inches fell that year. He can
Yeah.
tell you all that nano data
Right.
stuff. He's a great guy at that stuff. So that may be helpful to you when you look at this stuff. Let's move on, okay?
Yeah. I just wanted to, if I could, I wanted to talk
no.
about the contracts that we send out.
Right.
On procurement. Susan and I, last year, we started making our own contracts, what our needs were, and giving them to the vendors. And as far as the pool goes, and the maintenance company and stuff like that. Also, when it comes to the snow, I agree with giving it to a landscaper combined, because they have basically the equipment that you need as far as the bobcats go. If you remember in the past, they even came by with the blowers when we have 2 inches of snow, and they would blow the steps with the leaf blowers and stuff. So they're always been better equipped, I believe, as a landscaper, to have the ability to work on the snow.
That's
So-
a good point.
Yeah, so listen, so that's what your committees need to do. You guys need to vet, come up creative, find out different things, who's out there, who's doing what, how much does it cost, a creative way to
Right.
save money, make sure we get what we need. If you need any information or support for history, the board is here. Frank's been around a long time, Frank Brady.
Right.
We can all help you with that information. So let's just keep moving along those lines. And I
Right.
think we have a landscaping contract in place now.
Yep.
This year, but I think it's almost imperative that we start the snow looking right now, so we don't get stuck
Yes.
towards the end of the year. And
Yes, we
I have
intend to
to
discuss that.
believe, and so that's where we are on that. Let's move
The
on.
only thing I want to add, Frank, to that is, Dave, if we go per inch, assuming we do that, the question I have is, does a vendor then put us at the bottom of the list because they don't have, an annual guaranteed fee coming in?
Right.
Well, you always have to look at that and now I will just tell you that Alex just responded. He said last year they paid 0 for snow removal because of in where they were with their contract.
My
Because-
cousin lives at Regency and it was the same thing.
Yeah,
They had like 100 and something more, 200,000 budgeted for snow, and they kept it all in their pocket.
yeah, because of the fact that they paid by inch.
Yeah.
So,
This
I
past
mean,
year,
I think
2020?
it's something that we
But they-
definitely should look at, and see.
Listen, a thing like that, we'd have to have it, you guys would have to make a presentation to the board.
Mm.
And then we would have to bring it to a full membership meeting, because that's something that the homeowners really need to understand what they're gonna dip their toe into. Because if we
Right.
get killed on the inches and they get hit with a $500-600 assessment, that's
Which
gonna
has
be
happened.
hell to pay.
Yeah.
Yep.
What happened?
Okay?
Well, I think what Razor said, you're gonna have to put budget something for it, because I don't think we could ever plan on having no snow. But hopefully you don't budget 70,000 for it, you know.
Again, I hope you can find a vendor that's willing to do it by the inch.
Yeah.
Does Alex know how much they paid
Uh,
this year?
David, we
By
might
the
want
inch?
to check with Alex this year.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
because
heard, and this is, I only heard, but I heard it was
I know.
around $56,000
Yeah.
that they
Okay,
paid this
okay,
year.
so I want to ask this question. When you talk
versus
to
what
Alex,
they
when you
budgeted.
talk to Alex, ask him, how many dwellings are in that community? And how many types of different dwellings are in that community?
Yep.
And do they have courts or are they just streets? Very different animals.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So those are very
Yeah.
important things that you need to look at.
Well, the
Let's move
other
on.
question I have is
Go ahead, Bob.
based on not getting a lot of snow, if they're coming in, let's say we get an inch and a half or an inch and 3/4. Does that mean they don't come into de-ice at any point?
From
Does
what I
that
saw,
mean
again,
on our 3 buildings, we don't put chemicals down?
from what I saw, what he said, all they did was put down chemicals if there was less than 2 inches and they had ice.
Okay.
So they
Well,
would
listen,
do that.
important With those
They wouldn't do
condos,
anything else.
You kind of beat this
Can't
one.
get around it.
Yeah.
Move on.
I mean, as I said, we're just in the beginning phases of
Yeah,
this,
sure.
and
Good.
you know, there's a lot to do.
Fine.
Right.
And this meeting's not.
That's how you find gold. You keep prospecting.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
Let's move on. Frank.
If I could address another
It's not
issue.
to solve it, it's just to get ideas out there, to let you guys know that we're here for you, and if you need any information or help, we're willing to jump in, and anytime you need us, we're there for that. Who wants
If
to be
I,
up
if I
next?
could address another issue with the board,
Of course.
I'd like to address the roads that are here. I know 8 years ago, shortly after I moved in, they tarred all the cracks on the roads. And we got a lot more ever since then. And the roads, you know, are gonna take a toll if we don't fill these cracks. And I did get an estimate or two last year to fill the cracks in the roads with tar. And the cold weather is a time to do it when everything's contracted. When they did it 8 years ago, it was the middle of the summer, and all the roads were expanded and the cracks were very small. And the winter came and the cracks opened up again. It wasn't a big ticket. It was like, one was, I think, under 10,000, one was a little over 10,000, like maybe 12. I think it's a really important thing to do to preserve these roads, because I know it's a big expense to have to do, you know, major repairs on them or replacing them.
So for that, I think Frank Brady can talk to that about our reserve fund, the reserve study, when we're supposed to do it. We usually use that as the first guide. You should be aware of those things in procurement. You know, what certain things come up, what periodically, where we are in the use of wear and tear on anything in the whole community, roads, sidewalks, anything. It's all based on that audit that they do. That also guides Racer and the rest of the finance committee on how to budget money for the future. How much money do we put in the reserve? You probably heard a lot about $1 million in reserve. They're going to raise money on the forum and all this other crazy nonsense going on. You know, people can talk what they want to talk, but if they don't have real facts to base that rhetoric, it gets people crazy. And we need to be crazy. So Bill, good point. I think you should bring that up with Frank Brady. He can help you with the and Racer on what the reserve core monies are there, what is due in this particular year against the reserve funding and the needs of the community. And that way we can stay on top of things before they break.
I agree with Bill. I think we should definitely get this, get some more prices and get it done.
Okay, so procurement,
Find the money
you guys
somewhere.
got it. Yeah, you're it.
Also,
Go ahead.
also, Bill, there's a couple of people on finance committee that are also on the procurement committee. So if you ask them to look at the information, they will have that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anything else in procurement?
No, just the pool and the landscaping and the snow is what we're working
Well,
on.
David wanted to talk about gates before. And you
Oh, I'm
can
sorry, that's right.
do it later. Give
No,
David
you
a shot at it. Go ahead, David.
David, yeah, go.
Well, you know, the one thing I've done so far is lifted the gates when we needed to. But we have been working diligently with Bob and with the security company and Susan on making sure we can get into the visitor gate with the cell phone. We hope, and our fingers are crossed, that that's been resolved by either pressing 9 or 5. And I also understand that we believe, and Bob, you can talk to this better, that we might have a final resolution on the entrance gate on Marlborough Road. It sounds like they finally figured it out, Bob.
Well, it looks as though there was a meeting of Optimum and BH Security. And we came up, we would finally be able to change the router. We'd be able to get the IP addresses, we get the subnets, we get the submasks, we had all the numbers we need. We put in a new password. So Susan has all of that. And we had one part that was missing that I put it back in. And now we're just waiting for BH to come back. He said he's very, very confident that based on all this new information, based on all the new IP addresses and everything else that we have, finally, that he's going to be able to get it working again. So fingers crossed, we're just waiting to hear when he's going to come, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all for the gates right now.
Okay. Who else is
We gotta go to Judy.
let's go, Judy. Hi, Judy.
Judy,
And
Angela,
Angela.
what do you
Hi.
think we should do? All right,
Well,
what's our problem first? of all?
well, what a big problem usually is, other than the clubhouse being closed, but is attendance. One of the things that I was thinking about for this year, and realizing that we don't know if the clubhouse is going to open or when it will open, perhaps we could do something outdoors. The social committee is generally pretty good with getting people together, and we have so many new people in the community that none of us, I know I haven't met a lot of them. So I was just wondering, something I've been thinking about is maybe we can do something outside, in that grassy area, the pool area, make it a BYOB. People could, bring whatever they want to have, just as a way to socialize and just to get people to meet one another. Judy had a good idea of doing a Zoom about a month ago, but we only had besides the
people
Brady's and
showed
us, 2 people showed up. So I'm thinking that if it's outdoors and they, in warmer weather, it might generate some interest among the community.
Well, good point, because,
Well, I don't know. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think the governor has marked Memorial Day, the 30th, be like a jumping off point to go into summer. So we'll watch what the guidelines are. I mean, they're opening up restaurants a little bit more, and, it comes down to respect to one another and everyone else's feeling about how they approach the COVID, social distancing, wearing masks and everything else. Like I said, most of us hopefully will be vaccinated by then and we'll have a better situation. But to your point, maybe something outdoors is a way to go, even if we just do it in a parking lot or get some.
Yeah, and if people are concerned, I mean, first I was thinking maybe we could still do the barbecues, but then if people were concerned about the food sharing, then we could just make it, just bring whatever you're gonna have, and.
Yeah,
Maybe you can make it like a block party in the parking lot.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would
bring their own
say if
dish.
we could do court maybe parties and just assign a date for a court to let them pick it or whatever. And just like we used to always do our Baker Court Bash. And when we were doing the snow, getting the cars out of the guest parking, we had 4 and 5 of us out there helping us all do that. I mean, so maybe we could just set up chairs in front of our houses at different times in the courts and have people walk around or whatever, and I don't know.
Well, I think our portion is we gotta wait till April 1st, when hopefully the government actually comes out with some guidelines. But it's a great idea. I think a lot of people are interested in doing something like that.
Yeah.
One of the people who works for me in their community, what they do is they have these food vendor trucks come in the in the parking lot, the lobster truck and whatever. And it's a nice way to entice people maybe to come out. But I think we gotta wait till hopefully no later than April 1st to get an idea what the guidelines are gonna be. And then that's what we have to
Right.
carry out.
We can keep our fingers crossed then. No, once that opens up per se, then it helps us better to do things like that. Otherwise, we can offer trips to a winery in Marlboro or Cold Snack, and we all just go. I mean, or whoever wants to go, that's all you can do, you
Yeah,
know?
sure. Tough
You
one.
maybe you want to think about possibly like a movie night in the parking lot. Where,
Okay,
where you bring your chair and, you
That's
put up a
interesting.
movie. It's once it gets, in the summer when it's
nicer.
dark. and-
Yeah,
I mean, that might be something that people might want to think about,
I'm gonna
coming.
write that down. Movie night, okay.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
I do too. Bring your
We put a
popcorn.
jet,
and
we
come.
put a former jet game up there, but nobody would come.
I would go, I'm a Jet fan.
Would you go, John?
Yeah.
John will go.
John and Frank and I will go. We'll all go.
No, not all of us won't go.
I didn't say that. I said all of us would go.
All right.
We got John. John, you're
Yeah,
up.
well, the best way I thought about approaching this is to try to be proactive in trying to avoid conflict in the community. Maybe re-educate the residents about the rules and regulations, advise the community about events that had taken place that has caused conflict in the past. And I know in my past profession, we used to send out reminders of the rules to our clients every 6 months. They would sign it, acknowledge that they understood the rules. And if they violated it, I had a document of evidence to prosecute the individual. So those are my ideas.
Good idea. Good idea.
That is a very good idea.
That would work great. The problem we have with that is the renters. We have to get the renters better informed as to the rules of the
Right,
community.
right.
A lot of them don't
The
even want to
residents,
know what the
yeah.
rules are.
Yeah.
So
Send
to
them
that,
out, they don't read them.
No,
Doesn't
they
make
don't.
it
They don't
right,
care.
but they don't-
Well,
But to
that's
that
why you
point-
sign them and send them back.
but maybe we have to go a step further on renters and start holding the homeowners that rent their properties out to be more
Yes.
accountable for the renters they rent to.
Yeah.
And maybe we should look into see if the renter breaks the rule, maybe we should have the homeowner who rents it get fined equally to the
Right.
brought up on a charge. That way he can conduct and manage his own renters, not that we have to babysit his rental.
Agreed.
Not only that, but they don't even get, some of them don't get the emails. They have no, I mean, if we don't have their, you do
That's-
have most, I'm sure. But a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of,
not true. Sorry, Judy. That's actually not true because
okay,
before Katie used to not add renters
right,
to the
right.
website, but I add them to the website. And whenever somebody moves in, whether they're a renter or a homeowner, everybody gets a copy of the rules and regulations from me and also a welcome packet from them. So they're definitely on the website and are aware.
Okay, that's all, because a
Yeah.
lot of times
Susan,
earlier, that was
Susan,
Yeah.
are you
not the
saying-
case.
Are you saying?
Okay, I have a comment. You
Hold
have
on.
a little
Saying-
problem with that. You have half of the community that speaks Russian and have a totally different understanding of this, and another half of the community that like all of us, we understand exactly what needs to be done, and that's part of some of the issues we're having. And the problem is, how do we deal with the other side? Who is going to be talking to them, and how do we explain and make them understand like what's going on? I remember Norman came to my house like, why are you with them? What is so special? And I'm like, who is them? There is no them, it's all of us.
But you
Yes, yes.
So then it sounds like we need a liaison.
see, right? Yeah,
Why
but
are you with
Raisa,
them?
Raisa, you're 100% right. We all, this board took a punishment,
Bird brain.
took a punishment this winter with the
Right.
forum up there, and let's call it that coalition. I'm not going to say they're Russian. I'm going to use the word coalition so we don't have, we can be a little bit politically correct. But their mindset is totally different. And we as a board, we started the exchange. That way we can be more transparent, closer to the community. And you know what? Half of the people on that, on the coalition forum did not join the exchange. They do not want to be embraced by us.
Have you also noticed that
them.
none
I
of them
keep saying
joined any
listen, them.
committees also?
Okay, now listen, we have Raisa, you're Russian?
Yeah,
Okay, we have Mark Gorkman, he's
right.
a Russian, okay? And so with that said, even when you talk or Mark has spoken on behalf of the community, not the board of the community, they've been chastised. Like you said, Raisa, he came to your house and said, what are you doing? I know for a fact that Mark has been chastised. You should be with us. There is no us, them, we. It's all of us
I
together.
know,
And
I know.
Mark and I have been trying very hard to be more transparent by using the exchange. The board has as well, giving out more information than ever has gone out before to bring them around. But you know what? You can never change a spot on a leopard.
Oh, I agree with you.
Oh, so you may want to, there's only a handful out there that really causes trouble unless they speak to the others and they can persuade them.
Yep.
It's our job as board members, committee chairs, committees, to show the way to the rest of the community that no, we're all in this together. If we don't help, just look at this thing we don't even get volunteers for committees. And yet they want everything done for them. We don't work for them. We're putting our time, effort in, and our hours in. We don't get paid. All we get is agita, anxiety, and aggravation.
Yeah, you know, Frank, I think it's only a handful of people, like you said, in this coalition. I think the rest of, I'll say, that community, okay, are just uncomfortable or embarrassed to not feel as if they're supporting that position. But they don't complain. It's only 4, 5, 6 people. It's the same people.
Yeah, but they're stirring up trouble for everybody else.
All
I
right.
have a Russian right.
Let me ask you a question.
That coalition is out of their mind.
Okay.
Okay,
Let
Bob.
me ask you a question, Raisa. But what if, instead of having 5 driving the other 45% to go negative, that 45% pushes that 5 to knock it off and to explain exactly what this community really is? It's not us versus them. This is not country versus country. This is a way of living we've all picked. We wanted to come to a 55 and over community. We could live out the rest of our lives and be very happy here together as friends. Don't pick fights. We don't look for every wrong. You can find a million wrongs, but these people won't find one right. We need the people who support what's going on to understand what's going on, to explain or push these people back and tell them to cut it out. If you have something to say which is positive, which we could look at, if something needs to be changed, we're more than happy to listen to anyone. And if it's the right thing, we'll make changes. But we can't do it with guns to our head when all these people just don't care.
I know.
You have to care where you
And part of
live.
the other problem, Bob, is they really don't have enough information about what they're talking about. If they would ask, we give them all the information they want, but they go off on their own and they do it. I don't know what the
They don't
answer is.
even read anything. They
Yeah,
read
I don't know. I
nothing.
don't know what the answer is. We've talked about
I'm
this.
saying,
I know.
like Raisa says, if the Russian population, and I'll say it, if those few only want to have quote unquote tumult, you're never going to change it unless the others within that group who are positive here. And if you want to see change, work together to bring it to the board and we'll look at it and we'll make change if it's appropriate.
Yeah.
We
Or-
want to live in peace here. We
Yeah, and-
want to live together.
And the other,
I can't even begin to tell you how many people used to come to me in the pool all the time, hug me, kiss me, everything else. I can't begin to tell how many people walk away from me like I'm plagued. I don't understand. How did things change overnight?
Because of 3 or 4 or 5 people.
That's correct.
In a community.
That's correct.
Exactly.
And I
what-
think we
and
need,
Which is why I
Rachel,
say
we
we
need
should
your
answer
help.
them. We shouldn't respond to them. Just ignore them.
To me,
They're
we need your
unrelentless.
help.
It might even be just 3 or 4, but they are unrelentless.
That's
Well, you know
right.
what?
That's the issue.
You know, but we no longer respond to them on their website. I think if you just don't respond to all of their silly quirks and nitpicking, it'll help.
Raisa, what can we do? What do you think would be helpful just moving forward with the problem?
Well, my
Well, I
suggestion
know
is
one-
this, there's
one
only
thing-
4 or 5 people. They are being very negative. They do not want to hear anything. I've been on the forum. I'm a part of the forum, just like Frank Benintendo. He
Yeah.
sees how I answer
I
and
know.
how
Yes.
I reply and what I say to them. And I mean, I'm not sure who is on the forum, but I just tell them, enough already, zip it. You know, get a job, do something. How much more can you complain? I mean, believe me, Frank knows my replies, and
Okay.
they do. There's
And my-
nothing you can do with them. It's the mentality of
Right.
growing up in Russia and what's in your mind and how it's perceived. And there's nothing you're gonna say or do that's gonna make any difference. The only thing.
Okay, so the best
people-
way is to ignore
Yes.
or work around
Yes.
it
That's
or
what I
whatever.
Thank
So we
you.
have a
What
liaison
I've been
here.
saying all along.
Mhm.
Right,
That's
Or
exactly
I think the
right.
other
if they
thing-
start asking a question, just say, you know what? We have somebody that you can talk to and assign somebody who's gonna talk to them and explain them. And that's it. But it's only a couple of people, not a
Right.
lot
Now,
of people.
they-
Like,
We
they-
need
a lot
to
of my
stop
neighbors, and it's not like
pandering to
that.
the few,
Right.
because the
squeaky
many
wheel, yeah.
understand and want to do it right. It's the few that we pander to that we're actually inflating them.
Joe, Tori, what are you trying to say, Joe? I know you're trying
I
to
was
get.
gonna say was the squeaky wheel gets all the attention, but the other side of it is, some of the things that you guys have been trying to do, which I think can maybe gather in some of that 45% that Bob's alluding to, is the fact of the communication. You started that other forum or exchange with the Facebook, okay? Susan's getting information out. Even like tonight, maybe something should go out following, nothing lengthy, but saying, hey, the board met with committee chairs and committee chairmen, and we have some things we're going to work on, and we're hoping to accomplish some things over the course of time, and we have those committees working. And yet, because people don't know, unless you're involved with the committee or on the board, like Frank, you alluded to it earlier, how much time goes in it. They don't have the slightest idea, so they think some of these decisions are being made on the cuff, when in fact they're not, So I think the more you do and get that information out, the more you could start, some people will, again, if they're fair, they will take a look at it and say, okay, the board is doing X, Y, and Z. We have committee chair people that are working, the procurement committee, they have no idea that there's 4 or 5 people going through all these
right,
contracts.
right. They think somebody just thinks
Yeah,
up
they're
a
gonna blame the board
contract.
for that. The board did this, the
Vinny?
board did that.
Vinny, I'm very lucky to have one of the individuals 2 doors down from me. And quite honestly, I give him no opportunity to tell me anything. I put him in his place every single time he stops me on the street when I'm walking my dog. And I quite honestly told him exactly what everybody here is saying. I told him, why didn't you join a committee? And he says, I didn't get voted by the board. I'm not joining no committee. So I said, then don't complain. I said, if you don't want to be part of the solution, forget it. Then don't complain. That's what I told, because quite honestly, I dealt with so many people in my lifetime. He doesn't scare me. And by the way, he's not Russian. He's Ukrainian. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if there's much of a
That's
difference.
worse.
There's
That's
much of a
worse.
difference there.
Seriously, I'm not kidding.
And there we go, there we go.
Well, my
It's
daughter-in-law happens to be
It's-
Ukrainian, but nothing like them. But quite honestly, he can't get anything over on me. He tries, he can't. I don't let him.
He haunts
No.
everybody.
Yeah.
He has his own agenda. He has no intentions of looking at right or wrong. He just
Right.
has an agenda. And you know what? Go knock yourself out, but I sure the hell ain't responding to you.
And people will go away. And I think
Right.
Rachel most probably saw, I answer those things on that forum as
You
much
did.
as she does. And I tell people, it's all about how you treat people. If you
Right.
treat people with respect, guess what you'll get? Respect. They beat Susan up all the time. And quite
Yeah.
honestly, Susan has done a great job for us because
Mhm.
we treat her with respect.
Yeah.
Oh,
if
thank
you treat
you.
people with respect,
Everyone
that's what
should
you'll
be
get.
treated with respect. If
Correct.
you disagree with me, just tell me and we'll think, but to do what they do on the forum is just like
Right,
nuts.
yeah.
You know, I tell you something, what I wanted to suggest to everybody, but I've never went really any further, was to tell everybody to sign off of that forum. But the only reason that I don't sign off on it, it's almost like people that like to read the Inquirer magazine, you know? It's where all the funny,
And
stupid.
all the dirt. Yeah.
I won't join. I
But I'll tell you
refuse.
what, I think actually, it's another conversation, but I actually think that all of the members of the board should say, you know what, we're getting off. And maybe committee members. If we start signing off that stupid website, where it's only being written by 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
Then although they have a fairly large following,
Yeah, they do, but nobody responds except.
nobody responds. Well, I think like other
I've
people-
responded to Norman on that before, especially it was about the committees as well, joining the procurement.
Listen, I bite my tongue.
Right.
When he was talking about the snow removal issues.
An idiot.
Guys, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but Frank Beninintendo dropped off. His battery died. So
Oh,
Frank Brady, he's trying to get back on.
Don't let them
I'm
on.
sorry.
Frank. Don't let them
Why
on.
why would you want to do that?
Sorry.
Why would he want to be back on?
We lost
I
Frank.
just
Here
looked
he
and
is,
the
here he is.
forum has 133 members.
Oh, well.
Yeah, we still have 3 board members. We're good.
He's back.
133
back.
members
He's
are
back.
on that forum. Half
You're
of-
on mute, Frank.
Okay,
Good
I'm
now.
back.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
you're now on the bottom.
Did you go have a drink and then came back?
Yeah, I had a, I forgot it's on my laptop. I didn't plug it in, so.
Oh,
Did we hear from everybody? Did we hear from everyone on the chairman?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, I think
So,
so.
I think, we have a lot of issues on the table. I think we recognize a lot of things that we all want to do. And we need to be there for each other and see if we can, make this new year better year than last year. And, to all the points that Raisa made about the coalition and to Judy, communication and Joe communication back and forth. We'll just keep doing it and hope that we get better at it.
We will.
We will. And
But
this,
Yeah.
I was thinking of this. We changed the rules about dogs. Okay, and it seems like, oh, it's a dog. It's a simple thing, but there are dog lovers and there are dog not so much
Haters, yeah.
haters. And when we changed the rules, it was like we were persecuting the dog lovers, but we were just trying to make it better for everybody. So we have to move very carefully, but you can't just make
well,
rules,
let me put in
regulations, and
perspective.
approve things for the betterment of a few. We have to do it for the betterment of the majority.
Yes.
Some of us are dog lovers, but don't want to walk outside and step in something right on
I
our front
agree. I
doors.
agree.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
This is a,
everybody's
it's an
spoken.
issue.
Anybody else?
That's just an issue.
Does anybody else have anything they want to say tonight? I think it's a very productive
Not
meeting.
just ours.
We like to do these more often so we can hear from
Good
each
idea.
other and, find out where the pain is or where we're having problems so we can help. And I think it was a very good meeting and I'd like to just say thanks to everybody. If anybody else wants to say anything,
Right.
let me know.
Frank, let me just,
Timing.
let's take Joe Torre's idea
God bless you.
and put something.
Thank you.
Okay,
Let's
bless.
let's
Don't be
communicate,
dying on us, Bill.
let's communicate that we've had this meeting.
Yes, definitely.
Not much detail, but simply the fact that we had an opportunity to meet with all the committee chairpersons for the betterment of the community.
Yes, I
Right.
think that maybe,
Fine.
Phil, maybe you want to work with me on that. We can get it done.
Yeah.
We'll just put something simple out and we'll get it posted. Let people know that.
God bless
All
you.
here
right.
for
Where's
them.
poor Bill?
Hey, Bill, you alive? You okay?
Bill.
You get a drink, hold up.
Good.
Somebody to replace.
We're just
Bill. He's
gonna
not
go,
gonna make
Bill.
it.
That's okay. We're gone.
We're going to be going.
Okay.
Not seeing anybody?
I have a comment.
People.
Any last word, Raisa?
Yes, I have a comment. When you
Good.
send out that email that we all met, maybe you can ask people the questions, if you have any suggestions, if you have any comments that you
Yes,
would like to
definitely.
ask the committee members to address, maybe
Right.
that will be a good way to approach that as well.
Put the names and numbers or whatever there so that they have the same piece of material.
Yes,
Correct.
great
If you have
idea,
questions
great
from the
idea.
Finance committee or any other committee, questions or suggestions or recommendations, maybe that will be another way to get some things going with the
Yeah.
community.
Let me ask this question. And I know when I ran the art committee, it was like a one-man band, which is fine with me. I had 2 people come on my committee years and years and years ago, and I threatened the board that if they would do that again, I'm out. Do we need, or do any of you need more people on your committee, or you rather have it small so you can maneuver and get work done? Because too many people, too many voices,
Right.
too many ideas is not good. Like we have nobody on the snow committee. I think in this communications, we should say, we are looking for volunteers for these committees,
Right.
not your committees, because you seem to be okay.
No. Finance committee is good. We don't want any more
And
people.
procurement, okay?
Yeah.
We're good. No, we're good.
Social can use, social
Yeah,
can
we
use
could-
people.
we
Okay.
could.
You want people? Okay, so we'll,
Yeah.
we'll advertise for that, okay?
Well, I mean, once we get things going, yes, we need people to help us run things.
Okay, good. So we'll put that into the communication that goes out as well.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
All
Good
right.
night, people.
Good
Thank
night.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Thanks for
Thank you.
organizing
Good to see
this.
everybody.
Talking to everybody. Bill, I hope you're okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm much better. I was just my throat. Thank you.
Hey, Bill, I want you to know I always liked you, Bill.
Just your throat, huh?
I ain't
Bye-bye,
going nowhere. Don't
guys.
worry about it.
Okay, I'm gonna
Thank you.
close
Good
down.
night. Good night.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Risa.
Good night, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.